How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel, and today we are here with the April 2023 update for Chicago O'Hare International Airport Terminal 5. A lot of exciting stuff to go over in this video, from some new airlines making their debut here to some more progress work that's been completed on the diorama. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. So if you've been watching the Terminal 5 updates the past few months that I've been doing them, you might recall that the Terminal 5 expansion piece right around here, it's had quite a few different variations over the past few months. If you remember the last update, it was a bit longer than this. There was another piece that went a little bit more that way. But finally, Google Maps updated the satellite imagery for Terminal 5, so it does now show most of the expansion now relatively complete. It's not like the most up to date, but it does show a bunch of the gates that are in place and stuff. So I didn't really go off of that to update the diorama. I actually saw a video that O'Hare Airport posted on their official Instagram a few weeks ago, where they do like a little aerial tour, like literally a helicopter flies over the entire Terminal 5 and it shows all the gates and everything. It's really cool. It was a really cool video. So I used that as a reference to update the gates and everything. It was really helpful. It was such a clutch video they posted, because it really helped me so much with updating all the gates and stuff. So I was able to, as you can see, the space is a lot smaller now. Before it was a lot more spread out in the past few updates, but now that I actually know what it looks like from above, it helped a lot. So now you can see the gates are a bit more consolidated. Here, M30, I think, yeah, now I'm confused now. The gates are all closer together. I really am much more confused now which gate is which. But I think that's still M34, this is 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So I think that's how it is. M40 is still non-existent from what I can tell. It's just like a little jetway just sitting there. There's no like actual stand here yet. But I'm assuming the way the jetway is positioned, that's how M40 is going to look like. So M39 and M38 are pretty much, you can't use both of them at the same time. That's what it looks like to me. So M38, it appears that it's mostly for wide narrow body aircraft, and then M39 is the wide body gate. And then this one, 36 and 37. 37 is the wide body one, because there's actually a stand that goes this way for wide body aircraft. I'll add that in by the next update. And then you have 36 right here, which is a bit more down here officially, so that's for narrow bodies. And then this one is a little inaccurate, the 34 and 35. It's actually two separate adapters into the terminal, but didn't really have that kind of, piece. So I just kind of made do with the geminijets double jetway. So it worked out really good. I mean, I love how this looks. You have 34 connected to here, and then 35 coming out this way. So it looks somewhat fine. I like it. I'm not going to change that anytime soon. So, oh, and then the second thing I was going to mention is, of course, there's just one piece needed for this part now. Because before, if you remember, it was one here and then a second piece this way. But now it's just one, which is a lot easier for me to set things up now. The second challenge that I've been having over the past few updates, as you might know, is the jetway placement for all of these gates. So that aerial tour video that O'Hare posted on their Instagram, again, super clutch, really helpful. The gates are now pretty much exactly as they're supposed to be. So we have 32 and whatever gate. They don't go in order, obviously. The numbers, they don't go like M1 through M40 consecutively. They skip a bunch of numbers, so I keep forgetting which one is which, but this is M28 for sure. This one is angled, so that's how that looks. And M29, this is a wide body stand actually. A lot of these are flex gates, which means that you can park a wide body and a narrow body on the same stand effectively. So you could use this stand for a narrow body, and you can also park a wide body there too, at a different time, not at the same time. But you could have there's a narrow body plane using it right now, but the stand is big enough that you can park a wide body here at the same time. So that one is a wide body kind of stand. M30 over here, I'm not too sure. I believe it's also wide body compatible, but I really don't have the space for that right now. I could make some space for it if I just kind of push some together, but Yeah, that's what M30 is like. We had that set from the day one. Here's M31 and 32, or maybe it's 32. No, sorry, 32 and 33. There's no M31. 32 is more of a narrow body stand, but 33 is, yeah, it's wide body. And then this one from the last update, you remember, 26 and 27 were not really there, but it appears that the jetways have been put in place. So 27 is going to be the same thing as 29. Effectively, it's going to be another diagonal wide body and narrow body kind of stand there. And then I guess 26 is going to be the same thing as 28, just a smaller narrow body gate. And then these are the same gates, 25 going down. So yeah. And then okay, I remember the last update I did say that I was going to have all the terminal window stuff added. Did not have time to do that. It's been pretty crazy finishing up the last few weeks of the semester. The time this video goes out, I will be in my second to last week of the semester. So I'll have 3 finals this week and then another one next week. So it's been pretty crazy with projects and stuff like that, but you understand. So by the next update, I will be on summer break, so I'll be able to get the windows and everything done by then, and I'll also paint the other side of this block because I didn't paint the other side for whatever reason, because you're not going to see it anyway. But I decided that, you know what, I might as well just paint the other side as well of that block. So yeah, next update you will see that the windows and everything added, rest assured. So yeah, all right. Next really exciting update. I did promise you that in the last update, I said in the last update that I will, number one, get a new British A380. I got that. This is a brand new, updated, fully intact British Airways A380 that I was able to get. And then I also said I was going to make that A380 jetway. And so I picked up some new, a pack of geminijets jetways. And here we go. This is not perfect, but this is my best attempt at making the A380 jet bridge. So these are 2 new gates, by the way, that I put in here. Before, if you remember, it was these ones, these little white. I mean, they are technically geminijets, but I put some random white decal on them. And this is actually the most accurate one we have, because the jetways at O'Hare actually look like this. They actually are kind of white like that. They have that kind of style. They're not, you know, whatever colored beige yellow that these geminijets ones are, but whatever the case may be, this is the new M17 that I have here. Technically, I think it's like 2 long adapters that come out this way. I forgot how they look like, but either way, there's 2 separate jet bridges. So one, I guess M17A attaches to the lower deck. Obviously, it's not fully attached right now. So door L1, it attaches down there. And then we have M17B, which comes up to the upper deck like this. And I've actually seen it attach and detach before from the 380. It's really, really cool. If I have a clip from it, I will insert it. I don't think I do, but if I do, I'll be sure to put it in here so you can see it. But when we were stranded on my Southwest flight coming from Dallas last year, we were just parked here on the taxiway because Southwest doesn't have enough gates and stuff. It was a big mess that before the new expansion opened that I covered in a trip report last year. But as we were stranded on the taxiway, I was able to see the whole British Airways 380 departure sequence. It was really, really cool to see that. So you can see that the height of M17B, it's as high as it can go. I tried to make it as high as I could possibly make the geminijets jetway go. So it does slant upwards like it does in real life, and it just attaches to the upper deck there. So yeah, that looks beautiful. I'm really happy that it turned out this way. And then a bunch of the other gates just got moved over. And I also leaked all the new airlines. So we do have 2 new airlines. We got Finnair and Aer Lingus, finally. Aer Lingus was probably the biggest piece that I was missing, but Finnair is also a big one that I've been wanting to add for a while. We also have, aside from these 2, we have 4 other new models. Well, you can see the other 2. This is one, and then there's 2 others. 2 other new models in this update that we'll get to when we get to them. But yeah, so that's those are the updates that I've done, or the progress that I've made so far on the terminal. I believe I made some I did make some slight changes over here with the Delta side. So yeah, again, thank you so much, O'Hare, for posting that aerial tour. That was so clutch. I was able to fix up the gates, M2 and M3 over here. If you remember, they were both this one was slanted this way before, and this one, I think it was always like that, but I saw the video and the gates, I referenced it, and this is how it looks like in real life. So M2 is actually this way, these two are parallel effectively, and then the jetway is just kind of like that. So yeah, and I think that's mostly it. And then I think I said it in the previous video that there was supposed to be a gate here, what is that, 11, 12, 14, and is there a third? I always get them mixed up. No matter how many times I fly out of this terminal and do these videos, I probably will never get these gates down because they don't go consecutive order. But there is no gate here. I think I said that there was going to be they're building a gate here. They're not building a gate. There's nothing there. So it's just M10, M11, and then it just jumps here to M14. So yeah. All right, so that is it for the, okay, we're going to start with Delta anyway, so I don't know why I'm moving, but that's it for the progress. Hope you guys are enjoying it. And then again, like I promised, by the next update I should have all the windows and everything finished, and then if I'm even up to it, I'll see if I can do the roof detailing as well. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. Let's get started with the aircraft. Alright, first aircraft of the update here, we have the Delta Airbus A321 in the special thank you livery, dedicated to all of its employees that they unveiled, I believe, early 2020, like January, February, they unveiled it, or late 2019. But this aircraft is operating flight 1210 to Detroit, and it came in earlier from Atlanta as flight 2197. Next to that we have a 737-900 ER. Do I even have a flight number for this? I can't even see that I wrote. Oh, I do. Delta 739 came from Minneapolis as flight 998 and is headed off back to Minneapolis as flight 2571, which is normally a 717, and I think it is right now, but I don't have a 717, so I just had to put its replacement in. Well, not its official replacement. That's the 220, but this is what I had. So hopefully soon we'll get a 717. They're just so hard to find. Here at M11 we have a Delta A220-100. This came in from Boston as flight 2346, and it's going to go to LaGuardia, New York as flight 1480. So we talked about this in the previous update. They kind of alternate between Boston and LaGuardia. So one 220 will come in from LaGuardia and then go to Boston, and then another is going to come in from Boston and then go to LaGuardia. They'll kind of flip-flop like that. Not sure why they do it, but it's interesting. Yeah. All right, on to M14. First new airline of the update, Aer Lingus. This is the Phoenix A330-300. This is an older release, I believe, like a 2019 or 2020 release. They released it a while back, like almost soon after they unveiled this livery, which was it? It was 2019, I believe. I remember sitting in my sophomore year high school English class, and I see the livery for the first time. I was like, "What is this?" But it's not that bad livery. I don't think it's horrible, but I really prefer the older one a lot more. And I really hope somebody releases the old livery again, Phoenix or NG. Hopefully they make that on the 330-300, because I would love to buy that as well. It's a really, really classic and timeless livery. And the thing is, they actually have, it's kind of like half and half. I believe there's 6 A330-300s in the new livery, and then 5 in the old livery, or something like that. So it's evenly split between which ones are old livery, which one's new livery. And then they also brought back, I think, one A330-200 so far. They have, most of them are stored right now or grounded. They were grounded because of the pandemic, but I believe they've brought one back so far. EIDUO is his registration. It was mainly flying to Seattle, but they flew it to Chicago a few days ago. But the 200s are really old, they're like 19 to 20 years old, those planes, so they're significantly older than the 300s, so I'm not too sure how many they're going to bring back, if at all, but they do have one 330-200 back in service. Whatever the case may be, the Aer Lingus, they have 2 flights a day to Chicago during the peak season, so summer, spring, or I think it's mainly the summer and fall, I guess you could say. They have 2 daily flights. This one is well, this update, I forgot to mention, this update is 7 to 8 p.m. Forgot to mention that. So with that in mind, this is flight 126 or 124, something like that, back to Dublin. Because the afternoon flight, the year-round service, is flight 123 and 122, I believe that's what it is. Dublin, it comes in like 1 p.m., leaves at 4 p.m. And then this one, the second daily seasonal service, comes in around 5 p.m., departs around 7:30 to 8 p.m. So it comes in as flight 125, I know that for sure. I can't remember if it's 124 back to Dublin or 126, but I probably corrected myself already. But yeah, really nice to have the Aer Lingus flights represented here. again, hopefully somebody makes the old livery. Would love to cop that. Alright, next up here, another new airline, Finnair A350-900 came in as flight 9 from Helsinki, and it's flight 10 back out to Helsinki. So this is a seasonal service. They're only here for the summer. Well, now technically it's spring, so they're a spring summer seasonal airline. But nonetheless, really good to have them here. They mainly fly the 330, but their first flight of the season was in fact operated by the 350, and they actually brought the 350 here a few days ago as well. And ironically, that flight diverted back to Helsinki. It took off from Helsinki and it turned around and landed right back at Helsinki just a few minutes after taking off. I'm not too sure what happened with that flight, but either way, it came to Chicago about 8 or so hours late that day. But they did fly a 350 here a few days ago. Otherwise, it's mainly a 330, and hopefully soon I'll be able to add one of those to the airport. Because I love Finnair's livery. It's honestly one of my favorites, even though it's so, you know, bland. But they have a really nice. I just love how everything works on Finnair's livery. It's beautiful. But yeah, Finnair's here. That's 350. Another new model, lot Polish, 787-9. This one I got for a steal. It was $23, because actually the reason why it was so cheap is because one of the wings was broken, and they actually advertised it as being broken. So for that reason, they sold it at a super discounted price. So yeah, I think it was $23 and $10 shipping. So for $30, I got a 787, which in this day and age is almost impossible. Normally this model, if it was totally intact, would set me back like $50, $55. So for almost half the price for a model in this good condition is fantastic. So yeah, a lot mainly flies. Well, they mix it up, 787-8, 787-9. But during the summer, they have more flights here. Obviously, they have 2 daily. Or not 2 daily, something like that. Almost 2 daily to Warsaw, and then once a week to Krakow. And that once a week flight to Krakow replaces the one of the second daily flight to Warsaw, if that makes sense. So essentially, they have 14 flights a week to Chicago in the summer, 13 to Warsaw, 1 to Krakow, which is pretty cool. So this one right here is a lot flight 3 in from Warsaw, and it goes back to Warsaw's flight number 4, and that's the year-round flight, I believe. Flight number 1 and 2 is the additional flight they add in the summer. But yeah, this is the standard livery 787-9. Really happy to finally have a standard livery lot, because you guys remember my 787-8 that I have has the Polish Olympic team livery, which has actually come to Chicago before. It came a few weeks ago, but it's good to have the standard livery. I like that a lot more. So yeah. All right, next up, M17, of course, the one and only Speedbird A380. They actually changed the flight that it's on. Before, it used to be on the afternoon flight 294 and 295, 294, which comes in like 1 p.m., departs around 4. Now it's back to what it originally used to be. It always, when they started 380 service here, they originally put it on 297 and 296, right? Yeah, the evening flight. So that comes in like 6 p.m., departs at 8:30. So that's how it was pre-pandemic, and now it's finally back to what it was before. So here's a British Airways flight 297 came in from Heathrow, and is just getting heavily serviced for its return to London Heathrow as flight 296. So yeah, this flight actually was a 787 a few days in a row for whatever reason, but now it's back to being what it should be, a 380. So yeah, it's really good to have this model. I love British Airways' livery overall, and on the 380 it looks fantastic. I do have the other A380 that was showcased in the previous update, the damaged one. I do have that still. Ryan, if you're watching this, I don't believe I'll get rid of it. It's still a perfectly fine model. But this one is registered as, I think it's XLEL, sorry. Yeah, XLEL, that's what it is. The other one that I have is XLED, so pretty cool. All right, next gate M18, we have the Turkish Airlines 777-300ER. They're actually flying 350s here now on the morning flight, replacing the 787, which I covered in the previous update. And for a time, it actually was a 777 as well. But anyway, this is the OG flight, number 5 and 6, comes in from Istanbul's flight 5, goes back to Istanbul at 9:30 or so p.m. That's flight 6. And that's always a 777-300ER. It will remain a 777-300ER for the time being. Here's another new model, kind of unexpected, but I've been wanting an updated Emirates 777-300ER for a while, and considering this is the standard livery with no expo or special stickers, I had to get it. So this is Emirates 236 back to Dubai. Came in from Dubai's flight 235 obviously, but just preparing back for its departure. Yeah, really nice model, really happy to have this. It's got all the aerials and everything, updated mold, beautiful model. Unfortunately, this is not one of the planes that they fly to Chicago. This is A6END. So all the A6EN planes, they don't cross the Atlantic. They only do Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's it. They don't fly to the US. So the ones that you see flying to the US are, ironically enough, they fly their older, like A6EC, A6EG, those older 333s. They fly those to Miami and like, you know, whatever. Miami, they get a lot of those. Miami, Orlando, those kind of airports, they get the older 777s, but they fly anything to Miami and Orlando, to be honest. But to the other airports, like for Chicago, they only fly like, if you go to Emirates' flight history on Flight Radar 24, they literally fly the same 6 777s to Chicago, A6EP, A6EPY, EPW, EPZ, and A6EQA, EQB, QC, QD, Q. It's like, if you go on Flight Radar and you look at the flight history, you'll see it's like a pattern almost. It's the same few 6 or 7 planes that come to Chicago. So unfortunately, it's not one of those planes, but it is still Emirates and it's a 777, so it doesn't really matter. All right, and I believe the reason why they do that is because the 777-300ERs, some of them have a higher density configuration than the other ones, but I'm not entirely sure how that works. But anyway, Royal Jordanian 787-8 up next. It's Flight 264 back to Amman, just getting ready for pushback. They will add another service in the summer. It comes in like 7 a.m. and departs around 10 or 11 a.m. So they'll have a morning service that comes in during the summer, but that one is it's a bit confusing how that works out. But they do have another additional flight that they add during the summer season, from what I can tell. I'm not too sure how often that runs, but they do have that on their schedule. So yeah, that's going back to Amman. Before I forget, TAP Portugal A330, I was going to say 200, A330-900 Neo. This landed a bit early and just waiting for an open gate. This came in from Lisbon. I believe that's what was it, flight 240. I always forget the flight number. 243, I think, from Lisbon. And it goes back as flight 244, 242, something like that. But yeah, it comes from Lisbon. It's just going to wait for Qatar to push back completely clear, and then it's going to take M19 momentarily. Alright, so yes, I'm aware I've already done Royal Jordanian, but I always forget to do this angle every update. It's such a nice angle, the lighting is so much better. Hopefully by the future updates I'll be sure to not forget to do the gates from this angle, because it looks so cool. I love how this is playing out. But yeah, let's go over here to Qatar. I apologize, the past I think 2 or 3 updates in a row I've been showcasing the same few airlines, Qatar and these two especially. So by the next update, I'll do a morning update for next month. You won't see these Qatar Airways and stuff again. So, oh, and you might have noticed Etihad is not in this update, by the way. Etihad is not here, and that's because their schedule changed. They are back to arriving in the morning and departing around 12 p.m. That was their original schedule, I believe, or no, it wasn't. It was for a few years, and then I believe 2018 they changed it to a afternoon arrival and a evening departure with all the other Middle Eastern flights. But just a few weeks ago they changed it back to what it was earlier. They come in at 8 a.m. or so and depart at 12 p.m. So next update, when I do the morning international rush, you'll see Etihad alongside Ethiopian and Japan and All Nippon Airways, whatever. But here's Qatar, 777-300ER in the retro livery. This is flight 726 back to Doha. This plane is allergic to Chicago. It never comes to Chicago, the retro livery. It goes a lot to Miami. Miami, for some reason, it goes a lot, but it never comes to Chicago. It hasn't come to Chicago in a few months. So I was looking at the flight history. It goes a lot to Miami, a lot to London and JFK, and there was one other airport in the U.S. I forgot. It might have been Dulles, but I don't think it was Dulles. They're not cool enough. But it was JFK and what's it called? Miami. It goes to a lot, but it never comes to Chicago. So I don't know why. It's weird. Hopefully it comes sometime. But I wanted to put it in because it's a nice livery. I haven't shown it for a while. Okay, M20. M24? Yeah, M24. Scandinavian, wait, no way. I'm sorry, yeah, this is M18, 19, 20. This is 21, there we go, sorry. This is I said this was M19, this is not M19, this is M21. And so this would be M24. I don't know, it's so confusing sometimes. But anyway, Scandinavian A330-300. This aircraft is the Stockholm service. It's the one, or it's, no, sorry, this is Copenhagen. Stockholm is earlier. So Copenhagen was a 350, if you remember from previous updates. For some reason, they have downgauged it back to a 330. So both Stockholm and Copenhagen are on the 330-300, which is fine, can't complain. But yeah, this is flight SK9 4T5 from Copenhagen. It goes back to Copenhagen as flight 946, Copenhagen, Denmark. So yeah, I love the 330, don't get me wrong, I love the engines, the old livery is really cool, but it's kind of weird how in the summer of all times they decide to down-gauge it to a 330, but maybe it's like, maybe they're just alternating, because you'd be surprised how many airlines fly to Chicago alternating between the 330 and the 350. Like, I can name you probably 3 right now. Scandinavian is one of them. Finnair obviously is another one of them. Iberia is another one. And I think that might be it, but there might be one more I'm forgetting. But yeah, a bunch of airlines here, they'd like to alternate between the 330-300 and the 350-900, which is pretty funny how that works out. Okay, next up, M25, Frontier A320neo. This came in from Punta Cana as flight 81, and it's going to operate flight 1575 onwards to Atlanta in about an hour and a half. All right. And then M26 and 27 I don't believe are active right now. They're still in the process of being activated. And then I'm running out of space on this memory card, ironically enough, so we'll have to switch to my phone in a few moments. And the camera, of course, is running low on battery, so we're going to have to switch to my phone again in a few moments. But here, M28 Southwest 737-800. And these are slowly becoming more common here. Before it was like literally all 700s, but now they're bringing more 800s and Maxes to O'Hare, which is cool. But this 738 is going to be operating flight 1727 to Nashville, and it came in earlier from Orlando. And the next set at M29 is a 737-800 from American. This aircraft came in from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico as flight 2296. And it's just offloading, and then of course once it gets offloaded, these planes get towed over empty to Terminal 3 for their next departure. Alright, and then over here M30, we have the 737-800 in the Chrome Retro livery, of course one of my favorites here. This came in from Punta Cana, Dominican Republic as flight 317, just getting offloaded and ready for its empty taxi over to Terminal 3 for its next flight. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are switching to the iPhone now, of course. This happens a lot on my channel, as you may know. But you love to see it, don't you? I never thought in a million years I would be able to recreate this, but Lufthansa is an airline for the enthusiasts. They have brought back the 340-600 and the 340-300 to Chicago. Well, 340-300 has been here for a few years now. This comes in during the summer for the Frankfurt second daily service. But the 600, this is the one we were missing. In 2019, they actually replaced it with the A350 on the Munich service, the year-round Munich service, flight 435 and flight 436. Or no, 435 and flight 434. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So that flight was replaced by the 350-900. That's what it's been throughout the pandemic. This is the first time since 2019, since the pandemic, before the pandemic, that the A340-600 is back on regular service to Chicago. So in the summer, Lufthansa overloads Chicago a lot. They have 4 flights a day during the summer season, 2 to Frankfurt, 2 to Munich. We used to have Dusseldorf on the 340-300, but they cut that a while ago. So the early morning, the first flight of the day to Munich, which is like I think 11 a.m. arrival, or and like a 2 p.m. or something departure. It departs sometime, I don't know. But the earlier flight to Munich is a 350 right now. But this flight, the evening flight, is a 340. So really, really happy to see this. I can't wait to spot this sometime this summer. I'm gonna try to catch as much as I can, especially the 300 as well. I'm not too sure when they're gonna replace that. But yeah, that's Lufthansa right here. 430 came in as flight 435 from Munich and is now gonna get towed over to Terminal 1 for its departure back to Munich around 9:30 p.m. as flight 434. Yeah, it's confusing their flight numbers sometimes. Okay, next up at M34 is the A340-300 in the Star Alliance delivery. This is the Frankfurt service, second daily. Of course, the other flight is a 747. This one is an A340. So this flight 433 from Frankfurt, just getting offloaded, and then it'll be flight 432 back to Frankfurt at 10 p.m. It's going to also get towed across to Terminal 1. So I'm not too sure if you can see these side by side in real life. I would love to see if I could go to O'Hare and check it out sometime, if you can get them side by side. Because this is like, how often do you see 2 340s from the same airline at the same airport, at an international airport especially? That's crazy, especially in 2023. And this is the only A340 service that we get now. Swiss ended theirs, it's replaced by a 777 now. So these are our only 340s to Chicago, which is crazy. But it's awesome. I'm so happy to see it back. And yeah, it's awesome. But I'm not too sure because this one flight to Munich departs at I think 8:30 or 9 p.m. or maybe it is 9:30, and this one departs at 10:30. So you might actually be able to get them parked next to each other at Terminal 1 for a brief period. So that's really cool, really cool. All right, taxiing in over here, we have the One World livery. Sorry, American 737-800 and the One World livery coming in from Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Is flight 1221, just waiting for an open gate. And then over here we have a United 737 MAX 8. This is, all right, excuse me on that. I didn't have a flight number written down for 2 737s, but we'll just say this one here, 737 MAX 8, came in from San Jose, Costa Rica as flight 1045, now getting repositioned to Terminal 1. Over here is the 737-800 at M37. This aircraft came in from, we're just gonna say it came in from Cancun as flight 1667, and that's normally a 737-900. But whatever, I kind of made the mistake of putting these two in, even though I didn't have flight numbers for 2 of them. But whatever, there we go. And then over here, last but not least at the terminal, we have the American 737-800 in the Astrojet Retro livery. This came in from Liberia, Costa Rica as flight 2338. So that's it there for the terminal. Let's quickly get the long conga line of departures for 22 left and 28 right. So we'll start off right here with this, sorry about the shakes, this phone camera sometimes. CRJ200 from United Express. This is departing off to Peoria, Illinois as flight 3922. Just behind that is a United Express Embraer 175 going to Kansas City as flight 4754. Here's the last new model of the update, Southwest 737-700 in the Colorado 1 livery. This aircraft is going off to, where is this going? Oh, Phoenix. Going to Phoenix, it's flight 2482, and it came in from Nashville earlier with that same flight number. It's just continuing onwards to Phoenix. All right, next up we have the American Embraer 175. This aircraft is departing off to, which one? This is going to go to Green Bay as flight 4036 or 4056. I can't read my number sometimes, but yeah, it's going to go to Green Bay, Wisconsin with that flight number. Next is United 737-900ER. This should have been coming in from Cancun. Sorry about that. But this is going to go to Portland, Oregon as flight 2348. We got an A320 in the Stars and Bars retro livery. This aircraft is going off to Palm Springs as flight 293. And behind that, this is actually a mistake. This aircraft should not even be here, but here's the 737-900ER in the Continental retro livery. And this aircraft, we're just going to say is going to go to Houston. I don't have a flight number. Next is the CRJ700 from American Eagle. And this aircraft is going to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's flight 3215. Embraer 145. These don't have much time left with Envoy. They're going to be retired from Envoy service next week, or later this week actually, May 4th, and all transferred to Piedmont Airlines. But this aircraft is going, I think this is a Piedmont one, right? Yeah, this is a Piedmont example. So this is going to go to Bloomington as flight 6058. So yeah, Bloomington, Illinois, my second local airport, or whatever. Forget I said that. United A319. Not ironically, but interestingly enough, this aircraft is going to go to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, as flight 2713. I guess not too sure why they're doing mainline service to Cedar Rapids. I guess it's because of a lot of people connecting from other places through Chicago onwards to Cedar Rapids. So you'll actually see this with a lot of airports around the U.S., a lot of medium, smaller airports. The legacy airlines, United, American, Delta, the last flights of the day to those airports and the first flight of the day from those airports are operated by mainline aircraft. Essentially, it's the same plane, obviously. It comes in from Chicago the night before, leaves back to Chicago after spending the night there. But I guess because there's so many passengers that are connecting to these smaller airports, they're connected from other cities onwards to Cedar Rapids, for example. So the last flight of the day to these smaller airports or medium-sized airports is, in most cases, a bigger plane, because mostly, like, during the daytime, mostly the Embraer 175, I believe, mainly operates the Cedar Rapids service. But because there's so many people that connect through Chicago, going to Cedar Rapids, trying to get home for the night, I guess, they usually upgauge the last flight of the day to these smaller airports to bigger airplanes. So I guess that's why the 319 is doing it. And you see this a lot with other airports like Hartford and Indianapolis, St. Louis, Wichita, Madison is a good example as well of that. Hopefully I explained it right. It's really confusing to explain, but hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to say. Next, another American ERJ-145. This is going to be flight 3923 to Lansing, Michigan, and that's operated by Envoy Air. And you won't see any of these Envoy flights now in the next update, which is crazy. This is the last Envoy ERJ-145 flight you will see in my videos. Crazy. All right, American 737-800 going to San Antonio as flight 1012. And last but not least, 737 MAX 8 going to Santa Ana, John Wayne, Orange County, California, as flight 1179. All right, that is it for this update. Thank you so much for watching. Pretty cool. We have 3 retro liveries, or 4? No, 5. We have these 2. These 3 are retro liveries. We have 1 more there, and then 5. Wow, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that is it for this April Terminal 5 update. I apologize for the camera lens. This iPhone lens, I don't know why they do this. This problem was not present on my iPhone XR because it has just 1 camera, but the 14 and 13, they have, and the 12, obviously the 11, they all have multiple cameras. So for some reason, it automatically switches the lenses. So if it's a bit grainy, it's been grainy the entire time, I apologize. It's just this iPhone, I don't know how it operates, that it's not gonna give me the full resolution. You see it's still grainy, I don't understand. Okay, now it's working. Okay, I think now it's back to what it should be. This is why I don't use this for updates. I prefer to use the camera because the lens issues on this thing. And this is for all iPhones. It's not just this particular one. But anyway, it should be back to what it's supposed. Yeah, now it's full resolution. Okay, we're good. All right. Hope you enjoyed this update for Terminal 5 for April. Thank you so much for your patience with me as I strive to finish my semester off strong. Let's see, next week, I'm hoping by Monday I should have a Lahore update out. I've been overdue for that video for so long. But I was trying to get this video out first and then Lahore, but we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves. Have a nice day. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.